All of you are well, and all of you are doing studies as well at your home. And now, today, we are going to start an inline function. Already, we have discussed in the class the topic encapsulation. We know very well what is encapsulation. Encapsulation is the feature of object-oriented programming system which is implemented with the help of class. With the help of encapsulation phenomena, we are hiding the details of our data. What is important for us? For us, the most important thing is our data. And whatever we are using in object-oriented programming system is all about to secure of our data. How to secure our data? We have so many features. And today we are going to study about the particular things, how to make it more secure with the help of some more features. Now today our topic is inline function and friend function. How can we use the inline function? How can we implement the inline function? What is the importance of inline function? With the help of inline function, we can uh, basically minimize the execution time of our function in our program. How to minimize the uh, execution time and compilation time in our program, we will study in for the inline function likewise. Okay, now today the first is, what is inline function? We need the keyword inline. Firstly, we need one keyword inline. Without inline keyword, we are not able to implement the inline functions. It is a very powerful concept that is commonly used with classes. With the help of the particular inline function, we can minimize the time, execution time of our program. Okay, so all the member functions defined inside the class definition are by default declared as inline. All the functions inside the class definition, whatever we put with the particular function, inline keyword or not, it doesn't mean, but all the functions by default inline functions. If a function is inline, compiler places a copy of the code of that function at each point where the function is called at compile time. In the particular scenario, the compiler places the copy of the particular function inside our system on the particular points where the function is called at compile time, like your cache memory. In your hardware, it just put your function definition in the cache memory, because when your system is run, that time it executes and it calls the variables from the cache memory first. If it is not found in the cache memory, then it will goes to the main memory. Otherwise, it will just get the copy in the cache memory and it will run the system as faster. To the inline a function, place the keyword inline before the function name. and define the function before any calls are made to the function. We put the inline keyword before the function name and then define the function before any calls are made to the function. We know very well whatever we have done for the function definition, we are doing the same for inline function. Firstly, we define the function and then we call the function. We know very well. We have three things for function. First thing is declaration of function. Second is definition of function. Third is calling of function. Okay, and these three things we need to implement always when we are working on the functions part. That's why for the same, for the inline function, firstly we define the function and then call the function. Now, come to the next point. The compiler can ignore the inline qualifier in case defined function is more than a line. If our function length is length is more, if it is lengthy, if it is more than one line, if the function definition is more than one line, then our compiler automatically ignore the particular inline qualifier, inline keyword, because when a function definition more than a line, that time it takes more time to execute. And for inline function, for inline concept, we understand it is used for to make the high performance of our system, to make the system efficient, and it increase the efficiency of our programming system. It increases the efficiency of our program runtime. Okay, but because when the function definition is more than one line, that time it is not possible to make the performance high, so it is inefficient at that time. So by default our compiler ignores the inline qualifier, means our compiler only understands if the function is defined within a line, it is called inline function. Inline means one line. It is not more than a line. Okay. So now come to the next point. A function definition in the class is an inline function definition even without the use of inline specifier. This is a very important point. If you are not putting a inline specifier inside the class definition for a function, by default is an inline. By default the function is inline, whatever you have not put the inline keyword with the particular definition, but because it is inside the class and with one line definition. Okay, that's why it is understands by the compiler it is inline function. The compiler will understand to it it is inline function. Now come to the next point. Any change to an inline function could require all clients of the function to be recompiled. Whenever you change anything inside the function body, that time you have to be recompile the particular program, because if you are not compiling, it will execute the old functionality, it will execute the last functionality of your program. So when you are just uh, changing anything, modify inside the function body, inside the inline function body, that time you should you should be required to execute to compile again the particular program where you are putting the particular inline function. Without recompiled, If we change anything inside the inline function, that time it is required to recompile again. Otherwise, it will just run the old functionality of your function. Inline functions are actual functions which are copied everywhere during compilation. So, the overhead of the function calling is reduced. When you compile the inline function, that time where we need all the details of the function at the time of running a program, at the time of execution of the program, it will copied everywhere during the compilation. And because of this, the overhead of the function calling is reduced at execution time. All the functions defined inside the class definition are by default inline. All of you remember this point. This is a very important point. All the functions defined inside the class definition are by default inline. But programmer can also make any known class function inline by using a keyword inline with the particular functions. If we are putting any function definition inside a class definition, by default are inline. But if programmer want to define any function outside the class inline, that time we should put the keyword inline to the particular function. Now come to the syntax. How can we write the syntax for the inline function? Inline keyword. Firstly, we write a keyword inline, then return type of the function, then function name, then parameter of the function. Like the definition, function definition. How can we define a function definition? The same concept we are using here, only we are putting here the keyword inline. Okay, inside the inline function definition, we have the block of code. This is called the body of the function body we can say, and function code. Okay, curly brace open and close, this is called function body. Now remember, these are the some points. Inline function is only a request to the compiler, not a command. If we are putting a keyword inline, it is a request to the compiler. It is not a command to the compiler, because when we have a function with one line, then it is a inline function. But if you are putting a keyword inline and you are just implementing a definition of the function with more than one line, so that time the compiler automatically change the particular inline function to the normal function. It is not an inline function at that time. Compiler can ignore the request of the inline function that time. So compiler may not perform inline behavior in such circumstances. We have to be remember, when the compiler may not perform inline behavior. Now, number one, if function contains a loop, whatever the for loop, while loop, do while loop, if the function contains a loop, that time it is not to be an inline function. It will not show a inline behavior to the program. If a function contains a static variables, if function has a static variable, so the function will change the behavior to the normal function. It will not be work as an inline. If a function is a recursive function, that time also it will not work as an inline function. The recursion is not working for the inline function as well. If a function return type is other than void, if a function having any return type other than void and the return statement does not exist, we know very well if the return statement does not exist for the returning a function, that time it is an error. Okay, so it will not working as an inline function as well. If a function contains a switch or go to statement, we know very well the go to is a jumping statement and switch is a selection structure statement, and that time also our function if our inline function has these switch and go to statement, that time it is also will change the behavior inline to the normal function and it will not be executed as an inline function. Now now we see, for an inline function, declaration definition must be done together. Now this is an example. In this example, we see firstly the inline keyword, then int is the return type of the function, now the name of the function, fun, and the parameter. The parameter is int a. There is one parameter a of integer type, and this is a data variable. Now inside the function body, inside the inline function body, we see only the one line function, one line definition. Okay, in this definition, return a plus plus. This is the post increment of the a variable. Okay, now this is the definition part. After that, we need to remember some important points about the inline function. Number one, programmer must keep inline functions small. Always you should be remember about it because it is a very important point. Your functions should be very small. Small inline functions have better efficiency. That's why I'm saying regularly to you, you just implement a function with one line. It is much better because we need to be efficient of our system. Okay, small inline functions have better efficiency. Inline functions do increase efficiency, but programmers should not make all the functions inline. We know very well the function inline functions do increase the efficiency, but programmer should not make all the functions inline because if the programmer make large functions inline, it may lead to code bloat. Code bloat means the unnecessary code, and it decreases the efficiency, it minimizes the efficiency of our system. This is called the code bloat, and it will affect the speed of our system. It will affect the speed and performance of our system. That's why we are avoiding the particular size of the code in our inline function. Hence, the third point is, it is advised if our function definition is large. If we have a large function definition, we should define the particular functions outside the class definition by using scope resolution operator. It is advised to define large functions outside the class definition using scope resolution operator because if programmer defines such functions inside the class definition, then they become inline automatically. If we just define a function inside the class and these functions are large by the definition, then they become inline automatically. Okay, Inline functions are kept in the symbol table by the compiler, and all the call for such functions is taken care at the compile time. To make the performance of the particular system, inline functions are always kept in the symbol table by the compiler, and at the time of execution it will take very less time to execute. Now we take the example. In this example, with the help of inline function, return the maximum of the two numbers. Return the maximum number of two numbers. Okay, we see here this is the IO stream file. We include this file, hash include IO stream input output stream file, header file. Using namespace std, the standard root namespace, we should put this with the program. And this is the inline function definition. We see here this is the one line definition, the keyword inline, the return type of the function, the name of the function is max, and one there is two parameters. First is int x, int y. Both parameters are of integer type. The name of the first parameter is x and second parameter is y. Okay. Inside the definition, we see the return statement. In this return statement, we are using the ternary operator. In this ternary operator, we see if x is greater than y, we are putting the condition here. In this condition, we are showing if x is greater than y, yes, if it is true, if the condition is true, we store the value to the variable x. If the condition for the particular is false, then it stores the value to the variable y. Okay, as we know well. Now come to the main part of the program. Inside the main body, inside the main function, there is a return type of the function is int and the name of the function is main. Inside this, cout, and we are calling the function here. We are calling the inline function here. This is the calling part. This is the definition part. And inside the calling function, we see we put the value of the first data for the variable is 20 and the second data variable is 10. Now, uh, when our uh, program control comes here, then automatically it detects the definition of the particular function. When it detects the definition, it will find the max here, and here it will check the value of x becomes 20 and value of y becomes 10. 20 is greater than 10. Yes, it is true. The condition is true, that's why it will store the value to the x. And now here we are showing with the help of cout statement. With the help of cout statement, we receive the result from the particular calling function is 20 because it returns the value from here to the calling part of the program, from where the particular function is calling from the max 2010. It's calling from here, that's why it returns the value to here, and it will print the value because of cout statement. Cout is the object and it will represents the output stream. And then our program control comes to the next statement, and from the next statement it will checks for the 0 200 and x is 0 here and y is 200. Now again it checks here 0 is greater than 200. No, it's false. That's why it stores the value to the y, and this value y returns by the return statement to the calling part of the program, and it will call by the max 0 200. That's why we receive the output of the y and the maximum value of 0 to 100 is 200 we receive here. And then program control comes to the next line, and here we are checking for the calling part 100 and 1010. Now here the again it will just call to the definition part, and 100 is greater than the 1010. Is it true? No, it is false. So it stores the value of y here again, the same as before, and now it receives the value 1010 and it will just show the output with the help of cout. Now we receive the output in this format, and after that the program control comes to the return 0, and this return statement returns the value 0 to our operating system, to our compiler, and then program will be finished and program will be add like this. Okay, now come to the next part, the print function. Okay, now all of you understand this part, all of you can see the particular function also. We can implement it in the particular framework. This is a Visual Studio. Inside Visual Studio, the same function we have written here, and we have written the whole part, and when we execute this program and we see the result here like this, we see the result and it will be concluded like that. The maximum 2010 is 20, maximum 0 to 100 is 200, max of 100 and 1010 is 1010. Okay, now the same. Now, thank you. We have come to the next topic, the friend function. What is the friend function? Why we use the friend function? What is the importance of friend function in our programming system? We see here in this session. A friend function access the private members of the class, but this function is not itself a member of the class. Is called a friend function. Means the friend function is not a member of the class. It is always access the private members of the class from outside, not from inside the class. Okay, till now whatever we studied about the functions are access the members of the class from inside the class. But the friend function is a particular member of a class, but it accesses the private data of the class from outside. Okay, this kind of function is called friend function. Programmer can declare a global function as friend. What is the meaning of global function? Global means the function definition is outside the class. That's why it is called global function. If a function definition inside the class, this is called local function. Okay, so the global function is the definition is outside the class. The function declaration, definition, everything is outside the class. That's why this is called a global function. Okay, programming can declare a global function as friend or a member function of other class as a friend. Now, there are some characteristics of the friend function. Number one, it is not declared as a member of any class. Friend function is not declared as a member of any class. Second, it is invoked, it is called like a normal function using the friend keyword. To implement a find function, we need a keyword friend. Without using this keyword, we cannot implement a function friend for any class. Okay. Now, third point is it can access the private members of a class using the object name. It can access the private members of class using the object name. This is the third point, is very important point, and we will discuss in the further lecture. Now, number four, It has the objects as an argument. The friend function has the objects as an argument. We will see in the example likewise the same. Now, firstly, we see the example here. In this example, we have two classes, one class A and one class B. Firstly, you can see we have declared the class B. Okay. Now, we define the class A. Inside the class A, we have one private field and one public section, one private section. Okay. Inside the private section, we have the private data, int A. Okay. And inside the public section, we have one member function set data. With the help of set data, we are setting the value to the private member of this class. Okay, what is the private member of this class? A. A is a private data member of this class. Okay, inside the set data member function is the public member function. We have the definition. Inside the definition we have two statements. The first statement is just to display uh, the output to the user, enter first number, just to let to know what we were going to do with this particular enter first number. And when you just put the number with the help of keyboard, it will be received by the data member A because of the cin statement. With the cin statement, we just input the value to the variable A. Okay, now we have put the variable value A. After that, the body of the set data is just closed here, and then we declare a friend function inside the class A, and we see the friend function here. First, the keyword is friend. The return type of the function, we are using the return type void. It means this function does not return any value, and the name of the function is sum. After that, the class name, the type of the object, this is class type, and ob1 is the name of the object of the class A. Second, B class object, and the type of the ob2 is B. Okay, and the class B here and the object name. Now we have complete the class A definition. After that, we come to the next class, the class B. In the class B, we have another private section. Inside this private section, we have the private data B, okay, of integer type. Another public section inside the class B, and here we have the same function name set data. Okay, inside this we have again the two statements, enter the second number. We enter the second number with the help of cin statement as well. Okay, and we just input the value of b here. After that, the same we will do inside the class B, declare friend function, the keyword friend, the return type of the function void, sum is the name of the function, the same as well, a ob1 and b ob2, the same, the class name and the object name as well. Okay, after that we take the definition of the particular function. This function definition is outside the class. Okay, and void return type of the function, the sum is the name of the function, a is the class name, ob1 is the object of class A1, and b ob2 is the object of class B as a parameter of the sum function. Now here inside the definition we access the private data. How can we access it? We have received here the integer type values from both, because we store here the integer type data. We store the value for the integer type data. That's why we receive the integer type data here. So we will access it with the help of uh, ob1.a and ob2.b, because ob2 is the object of the class B. We can access the private members of class B with the help of this, and we can access the member of class A with the help of ob1.a, and we receive the integer type value by adding of these two variables. So we receive inside the integer type variable also. We declare one variable s, and inside the s variable we store the value whatever we receive after the operation addition with the help of these two variables. Okay, and we store the value to the s variable, and this s variable of integer type as well. Now see out sum s and l. We receive the value of s here, and we will show the output on the screen with the help of this cout statement. And we know very well whatever we are writing inside the double quotes, it's a string, and the string value directly we can see on the board, we can see on the display screen as well whatever we have written inside the double quotes. Okay, now the definition is finish here. Now we come to the next part of the program, the main body. The main body is what? Main body is always used to start the execution of the program. Without main, we cannot execute a single statement of the program. So inside the main body, firstly we declare the object of the class A and object of the class B. The object of the class A is obj1 and object of the class B is obj2. Now we call the definition of the function. We call inside the main body, we declare the object for class A means obj1 and the class B is obj2. Now obj1 dot set data, it just call the definition inside the inside the class A. obj2 dot set data, it just call the definition inside the class B. Okay, inside the class A we have this definition, means we set the value for A, and with the help of this we set the value of B. Now sum obj1 obj2, two parameters here inside the sum function, and this sum function is a friend function of the class A and the class B. So we see inside definition, this is a object type. The data is object type, so it is object type and it is object type, and we can call the definition likewise, and this parameter matches to the same to the definition parameter, and it calls the particular some definition, and it executes the value of the A and executes the value of B, and it will just add to each other and operating the particular values, and then it stores the result to the S, and we receive the result here. So we get the result here, and it will just show the result here, and after that program control passes to the particular function, and it will come to the next part of the program, system pause, and then the program is finished. We can see here firstly it just get to enter the first value to the variable A. Likewise you have just input the value 100, and second value is 50, and here 100 plus 50 is 150, and it will represent the result 150 here as well. So with the help of friend function, we can understand how can we access the private part of the class. Okay, and we can access the private members of the class as well. Now come to the next program. In this program, programmer can declare a global function as friend. You understand it carefully. Programmer can declare a global function as friend. I already told you, we have seen here We have seen here declare a global function as friend. This is the example of the particular one. Okay, programmer can declare a global function as friend or member function of other class as a friend. Okay, now we see here the one class. The one class name is with friend. Okay, inside this class we have one data int I. This data is private because we have not put here any access specifier. By default, it is private. So int I is a private data. Okay. Now here the public section. Inside the public section, we have the friend function of this class, and the keyword is friend. To become a function is friend, we need a keyword friend, and the return type of the function. Okay, always when we declare any function we need a return type of the function, and here the name of the function, global function as friend. Okay, now the class definition is complete. We come to the function definition fun. Now the function definition fun, the return type of the function and the function name with no arguments, and as well this is the class name. Okay, we just declare object of this class. We declare object of with friend class wf, and we can access the private data members of this class. We can access the private data member of this class with the help of the object, because this function is friend. Because of this friend function, we can access only the private members like voice. Okay. Otherwise, it is not possible. We can directly access the private member like voice. Okay. So cout wf.I means whatever you have put it here, it will be display the result as well. Now, without main, we cannot execute a single statement. We know very well there is a initial entry of the program. In the main, the here we have one mistake as well. We need to write the return statement here. Sorry. So int main, and inside the main body we have to call the fun function. This fun function is, we can call it directly. Okay, and this function is what? This function is a friend function. Okay, we know very well this is a friend function, and with the help of this friend function we can access the private data member of the class. The private data member is I. With the help of this fun function we can access the private part of the class. Hence it is a not. We can see the not as well. Friend function can access private data members by creating object of the class. We have created the object of the class. With the help of this object, we are accessing the private part of the class, because this function is a friend function. That's why we can do only. Otherwise, it is not possible. It is not going to be happen as well. Okay. Now come to the next example. This is a good example also. You can see programmer can also make function of some other class as friend. Programmer can also make function of some other class as friend. Okay, we can create function for another class as a friend, or programmer can also make an entire class as a friend. Here we are using a two concept. One concept is to make the entire class as a friend. Okay, if we make the entire class as a friend, the all functions inside the class automatically be a friend of the particular class. Okay, now firstly you see one class other. Inside the other class we have only the declaration of one function void fun. Okay, now come to the next part of the program. Here one class with friend. Okay, here the private data, likewise the same as the last, and int I is the private data member of the class. In the public section, we have another method. The method name is void get data, member function of class with friend. Okay, making function of the class other as a friend. Here, how can we make the function of the other class as a friend, we can do like this. We use a friend keyword, data type of the function. The data type of the function should be same. It is void, okay? And the name of the class, the name of the class is other. Scope resolution operator, the name of the function. The name of the function is fun. Like with the help of this, we can create a member function of another class as a friend to the one class. Okay, so with the friend class, we are creating a fun function of other class as a friend of the with class. With the help of this particular statement, with the help of this activity, we can do like this. Okay, and the another part is programmer can also make an entire class as a friend. We can make the complete class as a friend by using only the friend, the keyword, the class, the keyword of the class, and the class name, the name of the class other. If we put this statement like that, means all the part of the program, all the part of the particular class is become a friend of the class with friend. Okay, we should note here, when programmer makes a class as friend, all its members, all its member functions automatically become a friend function. Okay, now there is one more important point, why C++ is not a pure object oriented programming language. Because of the friend function. Friend function is a reason for this particular, because when we use a friend function, it violates the concept of encapsulation. We know very well